after 46 degrees on Sunday, after a warmer weekend, we're back to kind of like winter-like temperatures today, which could mean wintry conditions on the roads.
Yes. We had some of those, I think, a little bit overnight with some snow flurries and squalls. So how do you make sure that you're protected if there's a crash? Well, we've got Lawyer the Lawyer here, Laura Twilley, founding attorney of LA Law. Nice to see you.
Great to see you also.
Happy 2026.
Happy 2026.
So what do? Do you sue Mother Nature? Is that
you do?
She's got plenty of assets.
Lots of them. Yes.
Yeah. No, incredible. Yes. So is there a difference between a crash on slippery roads as opposed to a typical crash that doesn't happen on slippery roads?
Yes, because a lot of times what insurance companies are looking at is negligence. And if you're going below the speed limit, here's what we hear a lot of times is, well, the speed limit was 35, I was only doing 20.
Okay.
But I still slid into somebody and rear-ended them. And so they think like, I'm not at fault. Well, you know, there is something that's called driving too fast for the conditions.
Right.
And so you have to be aware of that. But a lot of times insurance companies will sort of fight you on that. It'll delay you in getting your car rental. It'll delay you in getting your repairs. So it's, you know, a lot of times people will call us.
Forgive me, it's the person who's hit the car or the person who got hit?
The person who got hit.
Okay.
So what'll happen is, let's say the speed limit is 35.
Right.
Somebody's doing like 15 or 20 miles an hour because it's snowy and icy.
Sure.
And they try to stop, but they keep sliding into, and they hit somebody. A lot of times they will report to their insurance company that I wasn't even speeding, or we were all going slow, and you know, and sometimes their insurance company will say like, hey, you know, to the person that actually got hit, like, hey, our person wasn't really at fault. And so that causes a delay in getting your repairs to your vehicle.
Well, I think you guys got a question from one of our viewers after the last snowstorm we had. And specifically it was about this. So the person said, I was driving under the speed limit, got rear-ended by someone who couldn't stop because they drove over black ice, and then they reported that that person wasn't even issued a ticket by the police who showed up. So in that situation, what do you do?
Right, so when a ticket isn't issued, that's just more ammunition for an insurance company to say, hey, my guy didn't even get a ticket. They weren't at fault. And so at the end of the day, we can get that fixed for you, but it causes undue delay, right? You know, if your car needs to get repaired and you're fighting with an insurance company for 2 weeks and you can't get it into a body shop and you can't get a rental car, that is a hassle. So I would always just say, hey, call us, call a lawyer.
Call you.
Call the lawyer.
Yeah. Is there such a thing as no-fault insurance?
Yes, there is a no-fault insurance, but it isn't probably what you're thinking of.
Okay.
It usually applies to like medical payments coverage, like a coverage within like a bundle of your auto insurance.
Can you go after if let's say there are slippery conditions and the roads weren't treated, do you go after the town? Who gets involved and who do you go after?
You know, it's tricky because there are like state and state statutes that protect the state. So you're not really going to get anywhere with that. Okay. It has to be the sole proximate reason that you got into a crash. So for example, let's say the state didn't plow a road very well and you're doing 15 miles an hour instead, and it's a 50-mile-an-hour speed zone, then you might be able to bring a claim against the state saying like, hey, the sole reason this accident happened was because of your negligence. But, you know, if you're driving a little bit too fast, if there was even 1% negligence on you and 99% on the state, it has to be the exclusive reason.
But how would you even go about that if you felt like the roads weren't plowed?
Well, you'd bring that up. You'd have to reach out to the State Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And talk to
them.
It
sounds like a lot of like roundabout ways to get what you're looking for.
Yes, and you're going to get a lot of roundabout answers too, and a lot of delays. And that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, if insurance carriers would just treat people the right way, and not like give them the runaround, then I think, you know, law firms like me would be out of business. But they continue to be greedy and, you know, give people the runaround, and so we help them out.
I was going to say, unfortunately, for this time of year, it's probably all too common, right? Just real quick, it doesn't take that much time.
Well, there's all the information you need. He's got offices in Bloomfield and New London. Lawyer at LALawCT.com, 860-595-3163. Lawyer, we can't thank you enough for being with us.
Nice
Thank you for having me.
Please drive safe.